I'm here for it. Whatever you want.
Okay, I still haven't even figured out an intro for this yet, so hi.
All right. Hi, hello, it's us.
We're back. So I'm gonna ask you the question that I always ask everybody. You know what it is. Do you believe in the paranormal?
Absolutely.
Still waiting for that one person to just say no and then like hang up.
Absolutely not. I just pretend to.
I want you to just kind of brag about what you do a little bit in your little adventures.
So I do a lot of things. So I started off as a medium, as a spirit medium. So I would talk to people's passed over loved ones, family members, things like that. Well, I guess that would be loved ones. And then I moved from there into working with the Akashic Records. So I can access your records and we can talk about past lives if they're relevant to where you are. It's also, they are really helpful for helping you kind of navigate through problems or just, you know, kind of getting you back on track to where you would like to be with your life, kind of get over some of those self-limiting hurdles. Also, I help you connect with your spirit guides, which is my absolute favorite thing to do. I absolutely love it. I think it is so cool. And then I also have been integrating a little bit of energy work, which has been super fun. That is quite different than anything I've ever done. And it's all very much spirit-led. And yeah, that's basically it. That's what I do. Spend most of my time on the other side of the veil. So
your energy work. And that is like, I know that you like did the Akashic Records and then you were kind of closing that out and then starting the energy work. So I'd like you to explain like what all that's about, because it's a lot.
Yes, it is. And it's a lot for me because, you know, and this sounds really funny, but as much as I believe in spirit and I want to just be like, hell yeah, let's do this thing, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. That seems really big and scary. And no, absolutely not. But it's funny because I do shower meditations. It's like the only place I can go that's quiet and nobody fucking bothers me. So I do all my best thinking in there. And I heard very clearly, you will be doing energy work. And I'm like, energy work? What do you even mean? Like Reiki healing? And they're like, yes, but no. I'm like, that's vague. A little more details would be great. Thank you. As I'm washing my hair and, you know, doing the things. And I'm like, this is so vague. Like, what are you fucking talking about? And they're like, well, just trust the process. We just need you to push yes on this and we'll just carry you through. So I'm like, fine. Okay, let's do this, whatever this is. And so I had my friend, actually, well, I didn't have her, but she called me because she was having like really bad headaches and she wanted some medical advice, you know. And I've spent most of my career, my working career, in the medical field. So she always comes to me with things. And so I was like, you know what? Let's try something. Let's try some energy work. So let me know when you're in bed. Then you're not fighting me, you know, about what's going on or who's doing what. And so I'm like, let's try this energy healing thing, right? So I was like, okay, spirit, let's go. You gave me the cue. You gave me the message. Let's do this. Show me what you're talking about. And so I kind of went into a little bit of a meditation just to kind of ground myself and let them come through. Girl, it was the coolest fucking thing I had ever seen in my entire life. So as I'm walking around the body, well, her body, basically, I just kind of laid out like on my coffee table, a pillow where her head was. And, you know, in my mind, I'm envisioning her body laying there. And so I'm in her energetic field, right? And so I'm walking around her body, doing my assessment, and I'm testing her strength on, you know, for weaknesses or strengths in the feet and the hands and things like that, like you would if you were dealing with a human person in like the ER and stuff like that. Squeeze my hands. Are you stronger or weaker here? Push on my hands with your feet. Are you stronger or weaker here? So that's basically what I'm doing in the energy field. We get to her head, and I was like, okay, show me what you want me to see. And so as I went down and put my hands where her head would be, it was like I was inside her brain, her head. And it was like her brain was almost illuminated in this really beautiful, like vibrant blue energy. And so it was like I was weaving myself through like all the little folds in the brain, and I could see all the connections and all the electrical pulses that were going through. It was so freaking cool. I felt like I was on like the magic school bus, going through the tour of the body, right? I'm like, this is so cool. But it was so detailed and just so interesting that I was like, okay, well, what are we doing here? And they're like, what kind of came through was that, we're looking for abnormalities, we're looking for blockages, we're looking for this. And so I was like, cool, okay, cool. So as we traveled through the brain and I watched how everything kind of circled through, we made our way down to like the spinal canal. And in there was some impingement. And so what they had me do was like pull it apart, the spine apart, so that it would like create space. And then we put energy and like light into the spaces between and kind of like unpinged some of those nerve endings that were kind of stuck in between the spinal canal and like the vertebrae and stuff like that. So we get done with all that and we close it out, and it was just so neat because you could see everything in scale. I don't know, it was just the weirdest thing. But I talked to her the next day because it was really late, and she goes, Tara, I don't know what you did, but my headache is gone, like completely gone. And I have more energy than I've had in months. She's got cancer. And so for her to tell me that was like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So basically, this is what we're doing. I am just the conduit of energy for them, for spirit, and whoever else wants to work through me. So, it is energy healing. So I will take like universal energy, and it will come through, and then we will travel through the body, look for abnormalities, and then fix it and have the body re-heal itself. So it's just a really interesting process because it doesn't really fall under any specific category. And I think that's why they were just like, kind of, but not this thing. We're not going to title it. So that's what I've been doing. It's really neat. I love it. I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. I am so here for this. It's just really neat because I get to see the body in a different way. And I've always really appreciated that. And that's why I love medicine so much. But this was really cool. So I was like, yeah, more of that. Give me more of that, please. That is freaking neat. And I'm over here like, this is so beautiful. Like, thank God nobody could see me because I probably would have looked fucking crazy because I'm over here like sobbing like, oh my God, this is so cool. But it really was. It was neat.
That's what we're doing.
That sounds like a crazy experience. I'd probably like shit myself.
Yeah. I'm not on mushrooms or acid, I promise. Like, this was like happening because I don't, like, as much as I have been around, the human body, and I've seen it, and I've done autopsies and things like that, and I've held body parts and bits in my hand. There's nothing like seeing it working and in action. And that was, I think, what was really cool because, I think we take the body for granted. We're just like these skin bags just walking around, but there's something so fascinating and just magnificent about how the body operates, and any little bit of disturbance, it like throws off the whole thing. So it's just really neat to see it in a slowed down version, and it's like magnified, and it's all like, I don't know, it's all like neon and lit up, and it's just so cool. So I'm here for all this energy work. I'm like, yeah, man, use me anytime you want. Let's do this thing. I'm here for it. So it's been really neat. But yeah.
You called us skin bags, and now I'm just thinking of like people that are just like lumps of skin like crawling around on the floor. Put an image in my head.
Yeah, like bone bags, you know, we're just these things just moving around, you know, but the body is fascinating. It is so cool.
I mean, I've heard
really
people
neat.
call us water sacks, or in my case, soda sacks.
Sex. Are you purely fueled by Mountain Dew?
I have not had anything to drink in the last 6 or 7 years that was not an energy drink or a soda.
Oh my gosh.
She tried to trick
You're
me into
just
drinking
busy.
water once, and one sip was enough for her. Nope.
He will not drink water ever. I do not know how he does not have kidney stones. So I haven't asked you this question in like 2 years because we haven't done this since then, but what is the scariest paranormal experience you've ever had?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And I totally forgot my experience. I had something planned too, and I can't remember. Dang it. Oh, I have one. Okay. So I work for the medical examiner's office. Well, it wasn't really scary. It was just like, what the hell? I work for the medical examiner's office, and I worked the night shift, and I'm by myself at night with 200 bodies, and it's very scary. It can be. And so I was running around, and at night we have to take charts upstairs, and I had to go to the bathroom really, really bad. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get up these stairs and I'm going to have to shit like tomorrow. Like I never go to the bathroom at work. Okay. But I'm like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. And so I get upstairs and I go into the bathroom and I'm sitting there, right? And it's dead silent because there's nobody in the building but me. And all of a sudden I hear this woman go, Michael. And I was like, the fuck? Everything just went right back up. There was no going to the bathroom for me. So I'm like, oh, okay. And the lights are on timers in the bathroom. So I'm like, oh my God, do I have like 5 minutes to get out of here? So I finish up and I go out, and it's like a square. So if you go out the hall, out of the door of the bathroom, go down the hall and around, you just end up in the same place, like a big square. And I walked around and there wasn't anybody there, but there's been a few times that I've gone up there and I've heard like doors close, and I've walked around like, who is up here? Nobody. There's not a soul in the building. Not a soul. Not a human one anyway. But yeah, that freaked me out. That freaked me out a little bit. And then when I had first started there, I was doing cooler counts. So we have to make sure that all the bodies are accounted for. So we have to go in and count them all. And it's really loud in there. There's like cooling fans and stuff. But at the other end of the cooler, I heard Tara really, really loud. Like, and it was a man's name. And I was like, huh? So I go out and I'm like, hello? Somebody looking for me? No one's there. No one. So there's been a few times that I've heard voices very clear, and I'm alone, and it is a little scary.
Have you ever had anything like follow you home or anything?
No.
My friend's mom worked in hospice, and she had a little girl follow her home once, and it was so creepy.
It's definitely different. It is hard to watch. That is a hard field to be in. I remember when I worked at the nursing home, we would have people dying left and right there. But it was interesting the things that they would say before they would die. And that's how I always knew, like in the back of your mind, you always wonder if there's more, if there's something else out there. And this was like really before I really kind of connected to spirituality. And I was like, there might be something to this life after death thing, because people would say the weirdest shit. And I'm like, huh, that's odd. I remember we had this like Well, and I worked in the dementia unit too. So, you know, people weren't there anymore in their mind. And so I remember one guy, he he was an odd one, but he sat up and looked at me and grabbed a hold of my arm and was like, "Do you see her?" And I was like, "Who? Who do you see? Who? There's nobody in here, just me and you." He goes, "Her, my wife. Isn't she beautiful?" And he died that night. I was like, "Oh my God, she came to get him." It was so, I was like, I will never forget that. But it's stuff like that. They would always say weird shit like that. Just, they would have that moment of clarity and it would just be like, what?
What was the experience you had that made you go, like, the paranormal exists 100%?
Like we've kind of been talking about, I think experiences like this, like having people who are not right in their mind anymore, be very clear about what they're saying. I did have some family experiences when I was about 13. We had moved a bunch of times and I was pissed. I was an angry fucking teenager and all I wanted to do was just be somewhere. Okay, now you've moved me away from my friends and I just was so angry. And so we moved from California to Washington and then we were moving back down here to Arizona. And so it was really long and I was so annoyed. And we were leaving Washington and we had stopped over in Oregon and I think I was like on my period or something, which was even worse. And so we stopped at this little restaurant and I was in the bathroom getting, you know, like cleaned up and freshened up and whatever. And it was just a sink and a bathroom stall. And so I'm standing there and I see the door kind of push open and I'm like, oh God, what? And I'm like, what the hell, whatever. So I keep doing what I'm doing because I don't give a shit because I'm 12 and I have an attitude. And then I see the door push again. I'm like, what the fuck? So I open this door and there's this little old lady standing there with her little purse, right? And she's like, hi, oh, thank you. I don't get out much. I'm like, oh, no worries, come in. And now I'm feeling bad because here I'm being an asshole. There's this poor little old lady standing outside the bathroom, right? And so she walks behind me and she's again trying to like get into the stall door. And I was like, oh, let me help you with that. So I opened up the door and she goes, oh, thank you so much. I just don't get out much. Thank you. I'm like, no worries, no problem. So I finish up and I'm gathering up my stuff and I go to leave. And as I put my hand on the bathroom door, I hear, goodbye, Tara. I just kind of stood there like, that lady just said my name. That lady just said my name. And so I walked out of the bathroom and I go and sit down and I'm like, eyes as big as saucers and probably as pale as a sheet. But my mom's like, what is the matter with you? I go, some lady just said my name in the bathroom. She's like, what? I go, yeah, some lady just said goodbye, Tara, to me in the bathroom. And she's like, really? I go, yeah, I mean, I was like, wow. But as we were leaving, as we were, you know, carrying on with our travels, I was really thinking about it because I'm like, this is so bizarre. Like, of all the things to say, I mean, in there, we're the only two people in the bathroom. It was tiny, right? I mean, of all the things to say, that is what she said to me. And what feeling I got was that even though I really felt alone and displaced, I wasn't alone. And so they sent me someone to acknowledge me and let me know that I was there. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty freaking cool. That is awesome. So I think that was the moment when I was like, yeah, that's it. Shit is happening. There's unexplainable shit. Because how would she have known my name? I mean, I was just in there, you know, brushing my teeth and my hair and stuff, you know. We weren't having life-altering conversation, you know. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's when I was kind of like, yeah, this is cool.
I get chills every time you tell that story. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And I have such like a kinship with old people. I've always really liked older people. I think they're interesting. And so I think that's why spirit chose to come to me that way, because it's what I recognize. And you always, they always show up the way that you recognize them most of the time or resonate with them. And so that was for me for sure.
Okay, I have one last question because it's getting pretty late. What is like the top 1 or 2 or 3 places that you want to go visit?
I always want to call it Puglia Island, but it's not Puglia Island. It's like Puglia. It's in Italy. It's the weird one with all like that one. And then just some of like the asylums. Those are really cool. The haunted ones.
Have you ever heard of Island of the Dolls?
No, we won't be going there. We don't do dolls. Negative Ghost Rider. No, nothing with dolls because they're fucking creepy. What is it with people and dolls? Explain this to me, Batman.
I don't know. I hate them.
Okay, but she's cute. Okay, my aunt had this cabinet of these little tiny porcelain dolls that were like super fucking old, but I swear to God, that cabinet was haunted. I swear to God. They would move, I promise you.
I would love that. Like, I would love that here. I want to see dolls move.
No.
They were so pretty though. They were really old dolls. I think she got them at like, I don't know, some collector thing, but they were old. They were like from maybe the 1700s, 1800s.
Yeah.
We went to a cemetery on Easter, and in the cemetery, right next to these graves were 2 old porcelain dolls. And like, I'll send you the picture after, but they were like busted to fuck. Like, they were broken, they were dirty, they looked possessed. Like, for one, it was a cloudy day. For 2, what the fuck are 2 dolls doing by a grave? And I went and I took a picture of it, and people were like, did you touch it? I'm like, hell no, I got out of there. That's creepy.
No, we won't be touching dolls. Not some fucking haggard looking shits either. No.
Because I was like, how are those here? Like, I want to know if they're still there.
Go check it out. Go see.
I don't even remember where it was.
I would be surprised if they're still there because they're not allowed, not even like flowers and stuff are allowed to be put out there. So
somebody probably picked him up then.
Good. The Winchester House.
Yeah, that's another one. Yes. See, you put me on the spot and then I can't think about it until you mention them. But yes, the Winchester House, that would be super awesome. I actually toured a house here that's up in Flagstaff, and it was odd. Yeah, it was odd. I don't know if they specifically mentioned that it's haunted, but it is. But it's just the family, there was a lot of deaths there, I mean, just the time, there was like yellow fever that was going through, and I think some of the kids died of yellow fever. And so they're still active in the house, but you can feel it for sure. There was some stuff there. I'm like, I'm not going any further, but it was neat. But yeah, the Winchester House would be super cool.
That is such a hot topic right now. I'm seeing so many like YouTubers and podcasts talk about it, and I'm like,
really?
Yeah. I'm like, I really like want to go now.
The house is beautiful anyways, just where it is. So it would definitely be a fun trip to go on. Go during Halloween if you go, because they do like all sorts of tours and seances and stuff like that. That would be fun.
I would love that.
we should sneak in so that we get the unofficial tour and not the guided.
Yeah, right? Kind of just go off the tour.
Trespassing.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be a fun place to go visit for sure.
I also want to go to Gettysburg.
Absolutely. That would be super cool. Yeah, I bet that place is loaded.
I've never met somebody who has not had an experience there.
My stepdad did. He used to drive truck, and he drove through there or near there, and he saw somebody on the side of the road and stopped because they looked lost. He's like, that is not a person. I'm just going to keep going. Thank you very much.
I have had that happen to me before. Like, There's a place right outside of town that is said to be haunted by the guy's wife. Like, he built this like massive memorial for her, and I think he's dead too. And me and my dad, we were driving back from one day. This was like probably 8 years ago. Like, I was still in high school, and I saw a guy standing by his mailbox getting mail, and like something just looked off about him. Like, I could see through him. And I've never told anybody this because I would sound like a Looney Tune, and I was just like, what the heck? And then I turned around and the guy's gone. Like, as we drove past him, he like disappeared, and I was like,
weird.
I was like, huh?
Oh my god, that would have freaked me out.
I still get like freaked out every time we drive past there. I'm like, am I gonna see that guy again?
See, I'm okay with seeing things in my mind, but not with my eyeballs. I think there's a difference between seeing it with your eyes and seeing it in your mind. It's less scary, right? I'm like, ooh, no, thank you. Unless they're cute little old ladies, that's fine. I can handle that, but no. Ghost people checking their mail, no.
And it was like the middle of the day too. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was like, what the fuck am I seeing?
That'd be okay.
Oh. So now I want you to plug any social medias you want, and they'll also be linked down below.
Awesome. Well, you can find me on the Instagram at the Optimistic Oracle. Mystic is spelled with a optimistic is spelled with a Y. And that's about it. I'm not on any other social media, but I do have a website at the same name, the Optimistic Oracle. I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah, y'all should go check her out.
There's fun stuff there.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and chatting with us for a little bit at this time of night.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to see both of you.
These are always fun.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm cracking every time I move.
You poor thing. Well, thank you guys. Like I said, it is a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. Go eat your pizza. Enjoy your evening.
My grandma was at a, oh, what's it called? What's that religion? Oh dear. Apocalyptic? What? Oh my god. The apostolic. I said apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic.
My head's not working.